now.
Yeah,
We're
so
we're rolling.
we're rocking and rolling. Well, it sort of leaves me then to say thank you everyone so much for joining us tonight. There will be people jumping in and out, no problem at all. But as you do, please do drop us a hello in the Q&A box we're going to be using tonight. And similarly, throughout this, if you've got any questions, please do just pop them into the Q&A box, and we will answer them as we go through. So welcome to our launch party for the Food Grower Academy. So we just established before this call that we started a little podcast called the Food Grower Podcast in the middle of spring last year, which was stupid because we started a podcast expecting growers to give up their time to talk to us just as the growing season was getting busy. And so it was really tough to get people to agree. But agree they did, and it was fantastic because it really shocked us how passionate people were, and it got our minds really working, and that's sort of where it all began really. And we find ourselves here today on this webinar to tell you about the next part of this project, and it's really exciting. And we're going to basically talk a little bit about it. Whilst we're going to get started by telling you a little bit about ourselves first, but we'll keep that short because we're not all narcissists, just me. And what we'll do then is we will show you behind the scenes of the Academy so you can see what we've been banging on about on social media non-stop for the last few days. So do you want to kick us off, Jack, with a little bit about yourself, where your journey started and where you are now?
Yeah. So I'm Jack, owner of Jack's Patch. I've got a quarter-acre market garden that I run off the principles of no-dig and permaculture. And that's allowed me to supply like my local community. I was doing a veg box scheme, but now it's more towards like chefs and markets. The chefs take what they want during the week, like to the availability what I've got, and then the market seems to be like everything else and then some. And then I really love talking to people at the market. You kind of get it's just like being a pillar of the local area. And then you start, especially with Instagram, you start documenting what you're doing. People know locally what you're doing. And I think people really get a buzz off like people growing vegetables locally. It's something good, very positive news happening locally. And I absolutely love it. I welcome people down to the farm on volunteer days, and you'll get a special Jack's Patch mushroom wrap if you come down to the farm, which has been a bit of a hit on the outdoor oven. And it's just really, honestly, like I love having people down. This is kind of a little bit of what we're getting into with this, and it's all community-led, community-based, farming with people, and exploring that together rather than farming by ourselves or growing by ourselves. It's always good to share that. And I don't think there's never anything better than having conversations around a fire, eating good food. It's always like, it's how we was as a society very long ago, and it's bringing that back. So that's a little bit about me. My journey started in Australia, got very inspired eating homegrown produce out there, and it just led me on a rabbit hole, understanding why I've not eaten great food like that prior. And it was all started with a tomato, really just eating real tomato. I thought, I've been robbed for 23 years of my life. So that was that. Started on a journey, come home from Australia after eating organic food, eating really good quality food in Australia, like the hospitality scenes there, the farm to table scenes there. And just when I come home, I was just rocked by how poor the levels in the UK. Our food culture is everyone else's food culture, and we still manage to butcher that in a way, don't we? With like, so it really drove me to like grow my own food, eat my own food, share it with friends and family. And then that led on to me doing it, documenting it. And then it's led to me having now a market garden, which is unbelievable. But years of experience, do's and don'ts. I feel like I'm at a place now where I can share my experiences, share my wins, share my losses. And that's why we're here today. So that's a little bit about me. And I'd like to pass it on to Andrew, and just introduce yourself, Andrew, a bit about your story, and then a bit about you.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. I mean, my name's Andy. I run a company called Urban Herbs. And essentially, we grow, sell, stock unusual varieties of herb. As a business, Urban Herb started a very, very long time ago. I'm having a week of feeling quite old at the minute. I've been running Urban Herbs for about 12 years now. And as Urban Herbs grew, excuse the pun, there's plenty more coming, we started to trade on markets and then street food markets. And on those street food markets, we very much realized that we were selling these potted herb plants as a food product, specifically as a food product. And we got to work with some amazing street food chefs who they met varieties like Vietnamese coriander, orange thyme, hot and spicy oregano. And straight away, those street food chefs made the connection. And they started to say to me, wow, mate, these would be brilliant in whatever I'm cooking next door. So the business grew. We started to soak up that knowledge. We started to trade at more food festivals. The pandemic hit, and it caused us a lot of problems because we lost all of our income overnight, and we moved online. And in some ways, although that was a really, really scary time for us and so many other people, building that online community was really important because it established that so many people get what we're doing. And as we've grown online, we've made links as a company and myself personally as an individual with people like Jack, like Chris. And we realized that actually we're like-minded and we're really passionate about what we're doing, but realized actually there's more to come, that this isn't the end result. And what I think we're going to talk about tonight is what the next chapter is. But before we get on to that, Chris, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah. So I'm Chris, and I run with my wife and our new little one, who is literally 5 weeks old. So that explains these bags under the eyes. But we run Fanfield Farm, which is a 3.7. Let's round it up for 4. Why not? I'll keep claiming bits and moving the fence, but it's 4-acre market garden. Before that, we got addicted to growing by just growing in veg patches in our house, and they sort of took over more and more of the garden. And then eventually we took on a little bit of urban farming, inspired by Curtis Stone in Canada and the States. We took on a front garden of a manor house, 2 allotments, and then we turned our entire, and I must add this important note, rented house, front and back garden into veg plots, taking up all the lawn, all the grass, building raised beds on the driveways out the front, and the landlord went mad. But that's how we started it. And before we knew it, we found ourselves in 2019 in November, the wettest Sussex winter on record, moving into a field that was just a field. It was empty. And we've built a home here and built a veg box scheme here on a sort of CSA basis. And actually counted up the other day, because I've been doing a lot of reflecting lately. We today sent out more boxes, so the number went up, but we were on 4,200 veg boxes over the last 2 years delivered to people's doors, which even blew me away. So it shows what you can grow on a relatively small space if you compare it to sort of industrial agriculture that are on hundreds, if not thousands of acres. So yeah, that's where we find ourselves. And that's sort of our journey, really. Thanks so much to you guys for sharing that, Jack and Andy. There are podcast episodes of the Food Grower podcast where I put Jack in the hot seat, he puts me in the hot seat, and then we actually interviewed Andy before he came on board. And I think, is that a 2-parter? It was a 2-parter, I think, in the end, possibly. Of the Urban Herbs episode as well. So if you want to find out a little bit more without us banging on about it for the next hour, and then go and check out those podcasts. And just a reminder, do jump into either the chat or the Q&A box and introduce yourself. We had a message from Robert in Coventry, so hi there. And thanks everyone else who sent in their messages as well.
So let's get into how it started. Before we go into the visions of the academy and like sneak peek into the membership, it's like nice to go back and see how this started and where it stemmed from. So me and Chris being market gardeners, It was just a matter of like us meeting in the season of, was it 2020, Chris?
Yeah, it would have been, yeah.
Yeah. So just the meeting each other. Like, I like to go to different farms. You always learn a lot more. There's always, every farm is completely different, whether you are like no dig permaculture as well. There's always nuances that you can learn from each farm you go and visit. So I do always say go visit farms. It was nice to meet Chris, but learned a lot in that day, and it was just a conversation really flowed, both on the same mindset and wavelength. And just a few questions we had that were burning just kept coming up, and we just saw a real gap in the market for us to be a voice, so we can speak to other growers, have this same conversation, like a geeky conversation about growing food, but ultimately that free learning resources has done really well, and people have really took to it. So us interviewing each other, explaining our story, like finding your favorite growers from the UK and around the world as well, has led to us sharing their story, so you can resonate with their story. It might sound similar to yours, and you might be on an allotment and you're thinking, oh, I actually want to get into this. And that was when other stories being shared, you can actually start to see the chain reaction in motion to get people, to get yourself from where you are to where you need to be. So having these conversations has been amazing, and we've spoke to some big guests as well. All guests are massive in our eyes, because everyone's got the value to play, but really we've had such an amazing response from everyone. Chris, what like, how many downloads is it now? Is it
it's in the coming on to 50,000, I think, and for something that's quite a niche podcast, and the fact that people listen to nearly an hour of it every time they listen, it is mad. It's absolutely mad. And we current like this is the narcissist in me, but we keep looking at the charts and finding ourselves in the top 5, the top 10 of the gardening stuff, alongside the RHS guys, alongside the BBC gardening channels. And that just means that food growing within that niche is becoming more and more popular, and I think it's only going to go from strength to strength. So it's exciting. It's been such a cool journey, and free. It's been free therapy for me.
Yeah, I think what it was for us, like last season was like notoriously quite hard. It was wet and cold, and we had quite a lot of fails. And I don't think that we've all said to each other, if we wasn't on the other end of the phone to each other, like we'd be in a lot worse situations mentally, and just that support was needed. And again, this is where the Food Grower Academy comes into play, because as we was having these conversations of realizing the support, that community it's created between us three, we want to expand out, and we want you guys to be on a journey, but be on a journey that we can help support you, and have like a whole community of people championing you, because the growing community is a championing community. Everyone levels each other up, leverage each, like it's not about, oh, I can grow the biggest courgette. It's about, oh my God, what you've got, that courgette or that tomato, I've never seen that variety. What is it? I've never seen anyone hold back information. It's very much about sharing. So the whole part about the academy is about being a part of a bigger community, getting your questions answered in real time. And yeah, just we will elaborate on that as well. So I'm just going to pass it over as well. I hope that gives a sneak peek on where the Food Grower started, and then where we're planning on where this is going.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, do you want to kick us off with sort of what you sort of imagined first when we talked about this? Because the three of us met to discuss the actual academy side in February, in a cold day in London, and now what you think it will mean to people.
I've got to be careful, because I feel quite passionate about this, and I don't want to get overly emotional talking about this.
Right, so everyone zoom in on Andy's now. It's £1 per tea.
I've done this job for quite a long time, and I'm quite familiar with what we call the production side of horticulture. So at the moment, I think that there is a real buzz happening within in the gardening sector, I should say. So particularly in flower growing, for example, in the social media accounts, where people are just doing amazing things in the gardening sector. We don't talk about strengths and weaknesses, we talk about strengths and opportunities. And I'm just so passionate about the fact there are so many opportunities for people to grow their own now at every level. Doesn't matter if you're growing on your windowsill, on a balcony, if you're wanting to level up your allotment production, or as I think Jack said, that you've got like a market little allotment, like a little, and you want to take it to the next level. There's opportunities at every level, but from my perspective, I just don't see that there is a ladder there for growers at the moment, a really cohesive ladder, because I agree with what the guys have said here, that the growing space, especially online, is a very, very supportive one. But within the wider industry, sadly, there is an existing model which does tend to be a little bit kind of pull the ladder up after you, and it's not always that welcoming to newcomers. And we want to change that. We want to provide a ladder that will support you, that will inform you, and Jack, it's so important what you just said about the mental health side of it, the support side of it. These aren't just like woolly terms that we're throwing around here, because when you're running a food business, or if you're growing in a really serious level, like feeding your family on allotment, actually, when things go wrong, it's a very lonely place to be. And when you join the Food Grower Academy, I promise you, you will not be lonely. You will have the same camaraderie that the three of us have had. See, I did it without getting too emotional there.
I've been watching. There was no tears, but we'll get one out of you before the end. Jack, what do you see sort of the vision for you of Food Grower? What's your sort of the benefit that you could see? Why would this have been attractive to you if it was there 3 or 4 years ago?
It's getting like questions answered in real time. So like being on the Discord app, which is the app that's going to be linked to the website. It's a community-based app. Everything's tiered into like Pacific veg or categories of interest. And what I'll do is, if you're like, oh, my radish is getting eaten, what like you can say a picture of it, be like, what is this, or why has it not gone to size, and we can talk about it. We can go just little questions that you think, oh, like I don't know, we even know what to type in on YouTube to find that. You might have to watch it a 17-minute video, and then minute 15 it gives you the answer. With us, it's just like, bam, just go to the academy, type in Discord. You might be at the allotment, you get an answer within 5 minutes, let's say, and the question's been answered. But what is going to be great is the webinars. Just having webinars specific for that month, and for projects, and for permaculture and mushrooms and indoor growing and balcony growing and all this sort of stuff. It's the fact that you can just learn a lot of information at once. And we say autumn and winter, or winter definitely, is when you're trying to get your gardening fix for when you can't grow much. So we're going to hopefully be that fix to your addiction.
Yeah, growing drug dealers. I'll go on the LinkedIn tomorrow. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, and it's a very similar story from both of those for me. I mean, I traveled halfway across the country to go to a organic growers course, and it took a whole day, in fact 2 days out, to do the travel and then be there for the day. And I picked up on a sentence that did change what we do, like the way we operate here. It was a thing with VAT. It ended up saving us thousands of pounds every year. That sentence didn't require 2 days of traveling and a day of a course to get the answer to. And that's when I started thinking that there are amazing resources out there, and we've been inspired by some amazing growers, everything from balconies to allotments to market gardens. But there isn't something that answers as many questions as possible. There's sort of, we focus on one thing, or we focus on how to grow and prepare and sell crops, or we focus on how to set up a business. But we kind of wanted to cover it all, because it's all under that food grower thing. And we wanted to have that available in there, that you can join at any time. There isn't any enrollment windows, or we're closed at the moment. We're taking members again in January, and there isn't a huge, ridiculous price tag slapped on it that you really need to be invested in the food grow. And we wanted something that's really accessible to everyone. And so that's sort of where we find ourselves now. And I think, well, I'm just going to say, read out a couple of messages, but in just about 10, 20 seconds, we'll show you behind the scenes of the academy that we are launching, well, within the next few minutes. So firstly, Jason Chapman, hi guys, amazing idea. I took on 4 acres 18 months ago and I'm learning as I go. Always love growing and every garden has been full, much like Chris's properties, listening to his introduction. Thanks, Jason. Wow, 4 acres. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So I feel you, I really do. And yeah, it's an amazing journey, especially if you're learning as you go. It's a real quick and steep learning curve when you take on a piece of land. And Sue Smith, my family since the war grew to feed, then moved to grow for profit. I love growing. 2020 as an educational professional was amazing. I was at home, but in reality now, the start and end of the day tired is very different. I'm looking for this community to support my enthusiasm, give me motivation and weekly guidance so I can enthuse my school and community to support feeding themselves. I'm part of Community Food Bank and in Bloom organisation. I look forward to that community. Sue, that is an amazing message. Thank you so much. What you're doing already sounds incredible, and it's needed. I saw a statistic the other day that showed there are now more food banks than there are McDonald's, which is terrifying because McDonald's is in everywhere. So and that's a stat that's changed from just being a less than, I think it was less than 100 food banks like 10 years ago, and now there are more than there are McDonald's. So yeah, a very scary stat. Do keep the messages coming in, guys. And we will, well, shall we do it? Shall we show them what's behind the wall?
Let's do it.
So
behind the wall.
Behind the wall. I'm just gonna do the IT bit and share it with you. The Food Grower Academy. So I'm sharing the screen here, but guys, please do jump in if you want to share anything. The Academy at the moment is a pre-launch, so we're showing you and we're launching it today, but there is more coming as well, which we'll talk about in a little bit's time. But when you log in to the Academy, you are met with the dashboard. And the dashboard introduces ourselves and gives you access to this list of amazing stuff. On the dashboard also is just upcoming news, links to the community, lots of other stuff, a little roadmap for you. I'm going to jump straight into the webinars because the webinars we think are huge value. We've come up with a massive list of webinars and we are going to keep them coming. And the webinars, we're doing 2 a month, every single month. No, nothing. We won't fail you on that. We're taking a commitment now. I've just seen Jack and Andy both nod, so that's a legally binding contract. That there will be 2 webinars a month from a mixture of us and other guests as well. And they are everything from growing a social media account, permaculture design principles, compost, herb gardens, tools, microgreens, sowing seeds, online content, health principles, setting up a business, all these different things. And I'm not going to go through them all now, but there's already a massive list on there, and 2 are live for September, starting in just the week after next. Now, those webinars are available if you're not a member, but they are £12 a month, £12 per webinar, sorry, to join us on. So within this membership, they're completely free. But if you're outside of the Academy, they're £12 each. So that would be £24 a month. Now, within the webinars section, you can sign up for them for free. You can ask questions. Even if you're not going to make it, you can ask a question, because once this webinar has happened, you'll be able to watch it back at any time. So we're building a library of these amazing sort of lessons set up as webinars. They'll be very similar to this one, all done on Zoom, so you can access them really easily with a click of a button. So that's the webinars feature. Would be £24 a month to watch just those, and then much more as the library builds. Now, Jack alluded to this a little bit, the community aspect. Again, this will be available on the dashboard, but it's also available in the top menu. The community is going to be a massively busy, bustling place. And this is the place that you can get your answer to a question 24/7. really quickly, because we will be in there, the three of us with over 30 years growing experience, and we will be there, and so will the rest of the members of the academy. And you can join and chat about tomatoes, you can join and chat about permaculture, growing mushrooms. We're running a book club in there. We're going to be running targets so we can hold you accountable for your growing targets. There is loads in there, and it's showing an error, and that's because I'm showing you on a webinar and Discord doesn't like that. But we run our community on Discord, so you can also grab the app on your phone, be down the allotment, be watering in the greenhouse, be looking at your microgreens, and there's some mold on the top of the soil. Grab your phone and quickly ask that question, and there will be someone, if not one of us, but the community as well, there to help you. And that's going to be so powerful, because we, on all three of us, and we talk about this on the Mental Health Podcast, have felt lonely in our growing spaces, especially through lockdowns, especially when there's been problems and you get frustrated because a badger's eating all your corn or something like that, or leather jackets. That was a dirty word in 2020 for us. Those things, you can jump on there and be surrounded by fellow growers. Really, really important. I'm just going to quickly stop, because I know I'm rattling through this really quickly, but I just want to really give you a good overview of everything. But there is that Q&A box. Please just throw questions about any of this into the Q&A box and we'll answer them shortly, okay? Funnily enough, the next part is Q&A sessions. Now, we see these as live consultation sessions for you. So you can join us. We're doing one Q&A session every month. So you can see 27th September, 7 p.m. UK time. You can join us again on one of these, but you'll be able to put your hand up and ask a question directly to the three of us, and occasionally some guests as well. And we will answer those questions for you in person on those Q&A sessions. So sort of live consultancy. Again, if you can't make it, stick a question. You can ask a question ahead of time and we'll answer it as well. And we're so excited about these sessions, because sometimes there's a little bit more needs to be said than we can cover in a quick message back on the community. And this is the opportunity to fill that gap. So we've got 2 webinars a month, a Q&A session a month. So that's 3 opportunities to ask questions. And then the community 24/7, you can get your questions answered. Now, we also wanted to save you money, because we know what's coming up. We know that it's not going to be the easiest winter. It's not going to be an easy year next year, but growing, we think, is the solution to that. And so we are getting together a huge load of industry discounts. Now, the industry discounts are discounts to things that you might need to grow food. And we're working on this as much as we possibly can to get you a discount on anything and everything that you might need to buy. So we've got polytunnels, trees and plants. We've got compost, soil conditioners. We've got urban farming equipment. We've even got coffee for those nights that you need to stay awake. Excuse me, to ask your question on a Q&A session, or to answer stuff in the Discord community. And just to give you an example, the Exhale coffee will give you your first bag free. That's saving you £9. That's just £1 off 1 month of this membership. And that's the Academy membership, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, but we didn't want it to be a massive price. It's just £9.99 a month to have all of this and more. These discounts will add up, or we're working on really hard for them to add up to save you more than that every single month. So that's something that's really important to us. And last but not least, of what's going to be in there when you click tonight or whenever you want to join, is learning resources. Now, this is going to be a huge library. If you imagine it's a library of everything that we add in here. So when we run a course or a webinar, if there's a workbook or a spreadsheet that will be helpful, it will be in here. We've got fantastic ebooks from the wonderful Jack in here on how to grow mushrooms or microgreens, and they are stunning. You'll agree with me there. Everything you can imagine will be in here. We're going to put blueprints on how to set up automatic watering systems. We're going to have infographics. We've got infographics on the favorite tools and the growers hacks from the podcast. We're going to have everything in here. You can quickly search it. And if there's something that we've missed, you can just drop us a message and we'll work on it for you. That is what is in the Academy right now. And what I just want to give you a quick look at is what's coming up, because we have something coming up that's massive, and it's going to be courses within this academy. They are coming up very, very soon, and we're going to be having academy events as well, in-person meetups, online meetups, and events bringing in extra guests, having round table discussions, just to try and bring you the knowledge of everyone that we can possibly get in. So it's a really, really important thing. We just wanted to mention those two things, and we will give you a little brief look at the academy courses in just a minute. But first, we want to sort of open it up. Have you got any questions on it before we show you what's coming up? We'd love to know your questions. And guys, well, I'm struggling with my words now because I'm excited, because I know we're going to press that button.
Yeah, honestly, that was quality, mate. And just, big up for how much work you've done on that website. So easy, user friendly, great interface on it. I'm sure people will agree. And those books are available as well. So if you guys are interested in microgreens and mushrooms, it's questions I get all the time. Straight away, we've give you the value of the ebooks, and that alone is more than a month's sign up. So straight away you're getting instant value, as well as the Discord, which is the community app, which getting answered in real time. We feel like for this price, it's just what it is for us. It's not about what really is. What it is that we can get as many people on board as possible. Don't not include people because they might not be able to afford it, especially going through hard times. Starting from next month with energy bills, that we don't need to put any more pressure on people. It's more solutions to the problem. So permaculture is a solutions-based approach, and I always find you find solutions within the problems, but it could be, we can even have discussions about how to cut on energy bills or how to heat up your polytunnel in the spring if it's still cold. There's always ways around it. And the fact that we can have a conversation around it excites me a lot. The fact that we can grow food throughout winter, just on your window ledge, or if you... even in your bathroom, you could grow mushrooms in there, probably to the demise of your, probably to the disgust of your spouse. You probably have to have permission to do that. But we're just trying to show you hacks on how to grow food, make it exciting, make it available, upcycling, that sort of stuff. So we're super excited. Obviously, we're probably talking a bit fast and a bit passionately, but I think because we know what we can offer, and we're excited to do so.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that, and by the way, thank you, Chris, for providing that walkthrough, because I should say that a lot of work has got into this behind the scenes, and I know that you guys are going to absolutely love it once you start playing around. Once you join and you start playing around, you're going to love it. I'm really, really struck by, a couple of the messages that we've actually got coming up here. I've just had a message, by the way, Jack, saying, just love your enthusiasm, guys. I'm definitely in. So, I mean, yeah, we are probably talking a bit quick. We are talking a bit emotionally, but clearly that is resonating with people. And I just wanted to say that actually the comment from Sue, I think it was, who was saying about, the reality of growing. That she said, the optimism that maybe she starts the day with, the reality when she finishes the day. Like, Sue, just trust me on this. The three guys who are on your screen right now, we know about that. We've 100% been there. It's not about, the Instagram kind of everything's perfect kind of vision, because we know everything isn't always perfect. But do you know something? When things occasionally go a little bit off the beaten track, I know how important it is to have a support network around. I know how important it is to be able to reach out to Jack, to Chris. And sometimes, let's be honest, just have a laugh and say, you know what, my polytunnel's just blown away. Like, what can we do? It's true, isn't it? And we realize that between the three of us, we've accumulated a lot of knowledge. And we keep saying this, but it is so, so, so important that this will help you whatever level you are. Like you might be actually thinking, I just fancy growing my own food this winter because food bills are going up. Well, I'm thinking that I will be joining the webinar where I'm going to find out about the best way to sow seeds for productivity. I'm going to do that because I need to grow my own food this winter, seriously. For those of you who have got an allotment and you're trying to take it to the next level, I promise you that Jack and Chris, that neither of them are going to say this themselves because I've known these two guys for quite a while and they're very modest. They will help you 100% because they've helped me. And maybe you're thinking of taking that next step. And we're not just talking about businesses, by the way. I mean, maybe you are thinking about turning it into a business, but like the message from Sue, who is working in education. If you are working with a school, if you're a teacher who's trying to start a little school garden, we can support you in that as well. And just to re-emphasize, because I know, Chris, you are going to talk about the pricing, sadly, everybody who's watching this right now, let's be honest, we'd all love it to be free. And we cannot deliver what we want to deliver if it was.
Yeah.
But we've all made a commitment that we want to keep the price absolutely minimal because it's not just a mantra, inclusivity and actually making this accessible to people. It's really, really important to what we're doing. So, Chris, is this a good time to actually talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I did promise I'd just quickly show what's coming in the future, and then we'll jump into that. So I'm just going to give you, I don't think anyone's seen this actually, so I'm just going to share. I'm sure you guys have seen it, so this is a bit naughty, but I'm going to do it anyway. The Academy courses. Now, this is very much a draft page, so there will be videos and stuff, but we are going to be putting in what we believe will be the most extensive course range ever seen in a food growing membership, book, course, in-person course, anything. And that's because we wanted to make sure that there are answers to everything or a lot of the questions that we need. And we'll be relying on you guys actually who join the community to mold this as well as we go along. If we see lots of questions on growing mushrooms in the bathroom and how to get your spouse to agree to it, then we'll put a course in about it and all these different things. But at the moment, we're looking at a huge list of courses from how to find spaces to grow in. We've put land, but we mean find spaces to grow in, whether it's a windowsill, how to get an allotment, how to get a piece of land, all these different things, how to plan those growing spaces. We're going to go into detail on every crop eventually, growing those crops, how to germinate, how to propagate, how to sow the seeds, how to harvest them and package them if you're going to sell them, or to preserve them in your fridge so that you've got, or preserve them in cans or whatever, so that you've got them through the winter. We've got a lot of information on starting up, a load of blueprints on starting these things up. Pretty important is the planning and prep. That's a huge thing, especially if you want to have successions of food all year round. Soil science, which is close to our hearts. Sales and selling, looking at different ways of selling, whether you just want to do a bit of bartering with the stuff that you grow on your allotment. So that Dave next door's got eggs and you want to swap some chard for it, those sorts of things. Or if you are a market garden or you want to test the waters with growing at markets to see if you'd like to move into a market garden, those sorts of things. And then a big part of it is for us as well is the other part. So if you are a business, and this will be really helpful whether you're growing an allotment and you're starting a business in something else, or if you're starting a market garden business or a business growing and selling plants online, anything, is the admin and legislation side, looking at legal setups, VAT, insurance, setting up community farms or a community allotment, what you need to be covering there in terms of insurance and having volunteers, risk assessing, all these things we've had to do, and we've had to pay for courses from other places and learn, but we're going to bring that all together, looking at marketing. And then you'll see there's a nice empty box here because we can keep adding to this. And again, that will be guided for by you guys. And if you do then go into a course, it will be broken down, not in Latin. We're just not showing you all the information that's in here, but it'll be broken down into lessons with videos, instructors, and each lesson will then give you a space to have the actual lesson in text, the lesson in video, and a checklist of things that you should have picked up on, useful links, workbooks, spreadsheets that will help you plan your seeds for the entire year, all these things. So I've shown you a little bit more than I should have done there. So I'm going to hit the stop share button. I'm an oversharer, so apologies, but that's what's coming in. And Andy, you're working on something that's going to come in before the end of September with that. So we're not selling you something that's short of a load of information. It's coming in this month, right?
Yeah, so the first course will be going live before the end of September. And this is going to be a course with a module released every single month. And what I think is really exciting about this, guys, is that I've got to put my hand in the air and say that the community aspect that Chris showed you a few minutes ago on Discord, I wasn't familiar with until 3 days ago. Three days later, I'm a Discord addict. Because honestly, the way that you can communicate with people and ask questions is amazing. So these courses, you will be able to do a module and you will be able to jump on Discord, ask questions and interact with other people doing the course. The first course that we're actually going to be releasing is talking about social media for a growing social media account. Again, this is at every single level. So you might be listening to this thinking, well, I just grow a few plants in my allotment. Why do I need to know about social media? There are so many benefits that social media can bring to you. I'm not joking. The online Instagram gardening space is an amazing one. It really is. It's so supportive and you get so many good ideas. And also it's just a lot of fun. So on a basic level, this course is going to walk you through how you can get the most out of your personal social media gardening account. However, if you are a business, if you're looking to market yourself as an individual, build a personal brand, or sell your produce, we are going to support you in that as well. So each month, there's going to be an aspect released, an A to Z, if you like, of how to build a really successful social media account. I've managed to build both Urban Herbs and my personal account, Andy Grows Herbs, some really, really good numbers, but more importantly, highly engaged numbers. So that's going to be the first module that is actually dropping this month if you sign up. Mm-hmm. I really, really hope that you do, because I think you're going to love it, seriously.
And we're going to be pushing those courses more and more as well into October. Something that Jack and I are going to be working on is growing food through the winter. And Jack has, you won't mind me saying this, mate, but you have some shipping containers, which I've been in some shipping containers and thought, I want to get out of these. They are dark, scary places where you can hear your own heartbeat. But you've turned them into an absolute paradise of growing for microgreens, mushrooms and seedlings. And that's something that you're going to share in the course, right?
Yeah. So if you're like a new grower, like literally you could do this with your kids. If you've got kids, this is so simple. Same with the ebooks. It's like you can literally get a carton, like oat milk or milk carton, juice carton, whatever, cut the top out, fill it with soil, sprinkle some seeds, put some weight on top. Within 7 days, you're going to have food. And that's like highly nutritious food. Broccoli sprouts, for example, high in sulforaphane, loads of micronutrients. It's more 4 to 40 times more nutritious than actual broccoli heads, because you're just getting all that energy from its sprout stage where all the energy is there. So something you can grow at home, windowsill. Even if you ain't got a window, if you live in a box house without a window, you can do it under a desk lamp, to be honest, as long as it's got a daylight bulb. Mushrooms, a little bit of a step up. It takes about a month to 5 weeks. I always suggest starting with a kit, but I actually want to show you the process if you want to go a little bit further than a kit. A kit will just give you the idea around growing mushrooms, and then you might want to go that little step further and grow your own. Today I'm actually going to do a video, but I've grown, can you see all those pink oyster mushrooms?
Wow, man, Wow.
So that's in a laundry basket. So if
I've got that laundry basket.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably from like IKEA or something,
Yeah.
but it's just showing you can kind of push the boat. You don't need like mad equipment. This was done really, really shoestring budget. And I just want to show people how easy it is. You don't need to be Breaking Bad, wearing hazmat suits to be growing mushrooms. It should be simple and easy.
That's amazing. And so that's all coming. And there's so much more. We've been writing scripts nonstop to put together these courses. And again, I can't say this enough as well. You will be guiding those courses. The questions you're asking in the Discord group, the questions you're asking on Q&As, and any requests for webinars or courses or anything, you just ping them over and we will. If we can't cover it between the three of us and the experience we have, we'll find someone who can. And we have really close-knit friends, it's fair to call them friends, who have been on the podcast or running businesses close to our hearts that can jump in and talk about things like compost, talk about things like urban farming and growing vertically, all these different things. Yeah, I love that with the carton for microgreens, Jack. It's like the new school project. Instead of like the cracking an egg and growing cress in it, which no one ever eats, it's the new one of those. And I'm going to grow them all through winter because I'll be able to cut salad in like on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I think it's just like stripping it back, making it easy. And it's not like cress is like notoriously cheap, but like microgreens is like a high value product, and it's high value for your nutrition as well. And that's what I love. And the same with mushrooms. Like I grow a lot of them commercially. They're quite expensive to buy, but you can, if you have a little bit of like patience, a little bit of like obviously knowledge, which we will have and we will teach, and then you can do it at home.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's all coming. There's more coming, especially how to grow those mushrooms, which are a gorgeous color.
Really happy.
Andy, I want to talk about the price because that's been an important decision that we've made, and it's something we've talked about literally for 6 months, because we are putting everything we know in here, and it is a combination of 30 years between us of growing, but as Andy said earlier, we don't want to be one of those people that's putting the ladder up as we go up, because we think it's so important, not just for the cost of living troubles that we might be hitting, but for the country to be growing their own food again. And it's something that is not being encouraged in schools. It's not being encouraged. The fact that it's really difficult to get an allotment, the fact that new houses aren't built with gardens, those things. So we really want to share that. And so it changed the way that we looked at the academy 6 months ago, and it made us really open it up and make it really accessible for everyone. So I said it earlier, I'll say it again, it's £9.99 a month. We believe that the discounts you'll be able to get in there as they build up will be way more than that £9.99 a month. So you'll actually be saving money by being in there, we believe. And let me just sort of picture something, because people often say, well, growing food's actually quite expensive, isn't it? And you only have to jump onto social media to find people who are their back gardens are absolutely full with amazing veg, and a packet of 100 seeds is way cheaper than one single pack of kale at your supermarket. So just think of it that way. There are obviously little other costs, but there are so many ways to look at it. And so we really encourage you to grow food, and that £9.99 a month, we believe that you will save. It's really easy to sign up. We tried to make that really, really, really easy. So you just go to academy.foodgrower.co.uk. This banner at the top will disappear soon because we're going to wrap up soon. Because we're all going to lose our voices very shortly because we've been recording courses and podcasts for the last few days as well. You can jump on here, and if you're not sure, just please do have a look. There's loads of information on here, why we built it, what's in there, how it's going to help you. And there's just a little bit I'd like to draw your attention to, is that one, there is a 30-day no questions asked money back guarantee, because we said we wanted to make it accessible. If you go in, you don't think it's for you, 30 days, you just drop us a message and we'll instantly give that £9.99 back, and you're out of there, and we won't hassle you again. It's not like you have to, we're going to try and convince you and offer you different offers to keep you there. No quibble, money back guarantee. You come down to this point, it's £9.99 a month. You click that button, it will take you to a sign up page where it will take your details. It will safely take your card details, which are handled off-site. They're not handled by us. They're handled by Stripe, a major payment provider in the UK. And then you are all set up and you will instantly get access to everything we showed you tonight, except the courses, which are coming by the end of the month. One little bit I just want to mention. At the bottom, there is a little bit that says who the academy is not for. And I'm not one to be negative. I don't want to be negative, but I just want to make sure that we're getting the people. And I think the response we're getting is everyone is the right people, but this isn't a get rich quick scheme. This isn't a jump in here and within 30 days, you're going to be millionaires running a food growing empire. It might happen. Wonderful if it does, and you can help us run some courses within here too. But this isn't a get rich quick scheme. It's not a blueprint to 50,000 followers overnight on your social media. And we are going to talk about a lot of different ways of growing, but we are very passionate about regenerative agriculture and permaculture. So this may not be for you. We will talk about all different types of growing, I must say that, but this may not be for you if you are a plow and spray kind of farmer. We completely understand that there are crops that very much need that, but this might not be the right course for you. And we don't, if you're going to join up and not get involved, then it's probably not for you as well, because this is a community that will buzz and will enjoy being together. We'll have a laugh and we'll learn together and we'll level up together. I'm really trying to avoid the grow together pun. So level up is where I'm going with that. But I was scared I was going to use sort of like a...
Too many grains.
Yeah.
Too easy.
It's really, really easy. So that's it. I mean, please do jump into that Q&A and ask questions. We're going to hang around, but there's nothing more to say other than it's live, guys. It is live now. We haven't got party poppers. 2 out of the 3 of us are not drinking at the moment, so we can't open the champagne. But it is live now, and we're so grateful that you've stuck with us on this webinar. We've been going on for an hour now. You've been listening to me talk far too quickly.
Chris, we've got quite a lot of questions. Can I rattle through a few of them? And
yeah, please.
I'll open it up to you guys. Some of these are not actually questions; they're just lovely, lovely comments. I was joking about that emotion, but here we go. Sue says, "That's why I'm here tonight. I can help so many, but need that motivation to be there when I'm flagging. I want to help others to find their way." Wow. And Sue also says, "The more folk involved, the better I am in, guys." Well, thank you so much, Sue. It's it's a pleasure to have you with us and be part of this community. Jason says 100% support network is vital, and also, as Andy says, someone to laugh with. Trust me, Jason, the 3 of us have found that out over the last 12 months. Actually, as Chris said, this isn't a get rich quick scheme. This isn't a join the Food Grower Academy and your sweet corn will grow true and straight and it will taste better than it ever has before. Things go wrong, and growing is amazing because every year is different, but we'll get through it together. We'll help each other. And that's really, really important. Kathy Stewart says, "This is amazing. I'm in." Thank you so much, Kathy. That's really, really appreciated. Allotment and window growing to the next level is what I need. Well, me too, Kathy. And I'm serious. I'm going to be logging in and I'm going to be watching the webinar where Jack is going to teach me how to grow microgreens, because as Chris said, we want this to be a positive space, a safe space, but we also need to be honest with you. And this winter might be difficult for a lot of people. I'm going to put my hand up and say, we're having to turn the heating down because we can't afford to have it on. So actually growing my own food is going to be really important. So Jack, no pressure, mate, but you're going to be feeding the nation.
Easy.
Ruth says, all signed up.
Oh, thank you, Ruth.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Really appreciate that. I've been desperate to find someone based in the UK offering these sort of things, and I can't wait.
I'm glad she said UK, because that's the problem we've had. We've paid for, personally, I've paid for like 3 American courses, and there's been a lot of like kilos to pounds and this sort of situation, which is, it's not been like completely tailored for me. So I appreciate you saying that, Ruth, because that's what we've seen the gap in the market and we're hoping to fill.
Sue, seriously, there are so many comments here, guys, but I want to get through as many as we can, because people have been absolutely amazing giving us the time. And also, please keep the comments coming, because we're here while you want to ask questions or drop comments. Sue says, guys, as a school, we're at the start of our growing journey. I made the decision to join the course on a personal level. Great value for me and my voluntary roles. But if you need that input, I am more than happy to be involved, school, home, and community. Wow. Thank you so much, Sue. That sounds amazing. Jen says, I'm in. This is amazing. Thank you so much, Jen. Amy says, sold in capital letters. So you're extra sold, right? Thank you. Thanks so much for working on and offering this, you three. So excited to join and learn from you all.
Thanks, Amy.
And Amy, I think we can all say, I think we're all quite excited just to learn from the community as a whole. Leela says, congratulations. This sounds amazing. Shannon says, looks awesome, team. Can't wait to see this evolve. It's 10,000, 100,000% needed.
No, 10,000.
I was counting the zeros there. We'll let someone else do the accountancy course within the academy. Just
Sarah says, well done, guys. What a lot of background work you've done. Sounds brilliant. Just what all as isolated growers need. I think it might be worth actually just expanding on that very slightly, because me, Jack, and Chris, we talk quite a lot, and we had a very, very honest discussion, didn't we? I think this was not recorded for a podcast, but the discussion was, essentially us fronting up and actually admitting that there are times that it's a lonely thing actually running a food growing business. And I'm just grateful that we've got the relationship where we can be honest about that. So yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, I think that actually that's going to be a really, really important part of our community.
Yeah, big time. I mean, it's one of those weird ones, right? Because when I wanted to do this, I thought this is going to be the best, and it is the best growing through the year. But it comes with tough times. You are doing something that nature doesn't necessarily always want you to do. And there are times that I've been able to pick up the phone to you two guys and I think that molded what this is that I wouldn't have got through it without the support of you guys and other growers around. And that's what really we wanted the community to start off with. That's why it was the first thing we built in the academy, because it's stunning. I stand out there and in the evening I might be watering and I'll accidentally fill my boot up with water and I'll swear, but then I'll look up and there's a load of there's Canadian geese flying over at the moment because they're on a reservoir nearby, and it's stunning. And I was having a terrible day and I was in a trench, it was filling up with water, and then I saw a kingfisher. And so you get those moments. And the first thing I did was text Jack, actually, I've just seen a kingfisher. But there are also difficult moments when, like the other day, when the badger just destroyed. And if I put a monetary value to the amount of sweet corn crop he destroyed or she destroyed, then I'm going to cry. So, but yeah, there are moments when you need people around you, and you are doing something outside in a field, and that's beautiful. Or you might be doing it in your allotment or even on your windowsill, but you might need that little bit of support. Why is this going wrong? And rather than getting frustrated, we can jump into the Discord group and either just be like, and then people will be like, yeah, it's cool, that happened to me. Or it might be, why has this happened? And people can suggest ways to fix it. So that's so important for me.
And just quickly, guys, we've had another question. It's actually a really, really important one. There's a lovely sentiment here as well. Anonymous, it's down as anonymous, but the question is, or the comment is, I'm near to tears myself just from your passion and love for what you do. I think you can tell I'm not that far off myself, to be honest.
I'm still looking.
But there's a serious question here, and that question is, are there any extra charges for any of the internal courses? And
no.
yeah, the answer is a resounding no. We're not messing around here when we say we want this to be accessible to as many people as possible. The membership of our academy is, or I should say, your academy is £9.99 a month, and that gets you access to all the courses, all the webinars. There aren't any extra charges, and we can't wait to have you with us. Sarah says, Andy, I just use your mushroom and olive oil plants in dinner tonight. Well, Sarah, I'm not sure where you're based, but if you could arrange deliveries to the three of us, that would be amazing, because we're ready for dinner, I think. And Sam says, I'm growing in the northeast of Scotland. I built a polytunnel this year and really need to know how to grow all year in Scotland. So hoping to find some help and support. Looks like a great community. Well, Sam, I think I can safely say you're in the right place, because that is definitely something that we are going to talk about. And I really, really hope that you join, and you're able and feel comfortable to ask those questions. We will 100% try and answer those questions for you.
Sarah said the food's all gone. Sorry, Andy. It was yum.
Never. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Next time, right?
Yeah. Well, guys, if you have any more questions, we'll hang around for a little bit. But just to say, if you haven't already, then pop over to academy.foodgrower.co.uk. Pop over there. There are links all over the place on social media as well. It's the page that you went to get the link for this webinar, and just hit that button if you want to join us. And there's no risk, right? Join it, have a look, have a chat with us. If it doesn't feel right, again, we'll be able to give you that money back within the 30 days of you signing up. And there are no hidden costs. There are no additional costs. I hope it's come across how passionate we are about this, and how we're not selling a blueprint to 1 million followers. We're not trying to sell a get-rich-quick scheme, and we're not snake oil sort of salesman-y kind of people. You can tell by the fact that we haven't used any sales tactics. We've just spoken too quickly, got too emotional, and showed you more than we should have done. So I hope that does ring true.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons that we're so emotional is over the course of the last week, so many of you have actually supported us on the socials. And in all seriousness, guys, shall we be really honest about this? We've kept the price of the academy very, very low, accessible, and we want as many people as possible to join this as possible to make it a vibrant place. So guys, after you leave this webinar, if you would like to do so, I hope that you want to join the academy, but if you're able to do so, please share your academy on social media. Add it to your stories, drop us a comment, let your friends know if you think that our excitement is genuine, if you think that we genuinely believe that we're going to change the scene for small scale food growing here in the UK. Let us know, drop us a comment, and share us with your friends, because we're not messing around here. This is a growing revolution, and we want you to be part of it.
Definitely.
That's so rung true. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you so much. Remember, academy.foodgrower.co.uk if you want to join us. And thank you to everyone who has jumped in and joined us. I'm going to go before I do break into some sort of tears, because I can see that there are people jumping in the Discord community already. It's pinging on my phone. So,
yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you jumped in at any point and missed anything, we're recording all of this, and we will be putting it up on the site. On the academy.foodgrower.co.uk site if you want to jump back in. And also jump onto social media if you've got any questions after this finishes. If you go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, I wanted to ask that, just pop on a direct message on Instagram or a message on Facebook. Or if you go to academy.foodgrower.co.uk, our email addresses are on there as well. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Andy. Guys, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Thank you both. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll catch you soon. Cheers.